California. A lot of us were traveling. Can you tell us a little bit about what you announced and why it's important?
Sure. Our event was focused on the future of search, and we had a lot of really new and exciting ideas there. We announced Google Goggles, which allows you to search by site. We expanded our Google Voice Search to include Japanese voice search, which, as you can imagine how hard that is. We did search by location. And we've had that for a while, where we've been adding your location based on your IP address to your searches. But what this does is actually, free of queries, tells you what's nearby right now. So say you got to a conference early, or you wanted to know, hey, where's the nearest restaurant, movie theater, etc. It does that. And then the really big news from Monday was that our real-time search was launched, already fully integrated into the Google search results. And we had a new partnership with MySpace and Facebook.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of news you piled into one day.
And there are some good themes there. So at Google, when we think about the future of search, we really think of it as 4 main components. One is modes or modality. How do you search? So, right now people predominantly do searches from their desktop computer by typing keywords, but we think in the future people will talk to their phone, talk to the search engine through their phone. They'll be able to do things like take a picture of something and say, give me the information, which is what Google Goggles does. So you can say, take a picture of the Eiffel Tower. It tells you, is this tall? It was designed by so-and-so. It was built during this year. That's a different modality of search, and we think that's one thing that's going to push search forward and also make it a lot bigger. Because certainly while the search market will continue to grow in its current form, one thing that will cause it to grow even more is when people can do more searches for more situations about more things that they're curious about. And that's what modalities really pushes on. Another big piece is media. So as the web has gotten more and more rich, when you look over, say, the past 15 years, we've gone from having very static text pages with just text to actually having really a very rich web, video, blogs, books, news, maps, interactive maps, product search, and now real time. And so bringing all of that together really enriches the results set, because our results set should mirror how rich the web is. And the other 2 components have to do with language, using translation and the power of all the content on the web to really improve search, and personalization, which we think that the search engines of the future will be better in part because they understand something about where you are, who your friends are, what your preferences are, what searches you've been doing, what you're an expert in. So those are sort of the 4 key components, and most of our launches can be classified into one of those categories.
All right. I'm sorry, are all these people taking pictures of me, is this distracting? It's funny, they weren't here this morning taking pictures of me on my other panel, but now they just can't stay away from me. So. Okay, so one of the questions about last year, one of the allowed questions that I have where I get to poke at you a little bit. Google Search Wiki was the big thing last year, and it wasn't even technically your product, I don't think, but I never liked it. Actually, some people did. I just did not like that. We talked about this last year. You gave us an off button, thank you. But can we just now get rid of it entirely?
Well, we are getting some edits that we find useful. I do think we will be looking to morph the product and make it more powerful and more integrated.
Yeah. So
we're looking at changing the user model a bit.
And by morph, you mean kill?
No, I mean morph. But
so one of the announcements you made this week that I found the most interesting was the taking a picture of the Eiffel Tower or whatever, and Google telling me what this is. And obviously you're using, I assume that you're using location data to some extent to help yourself out. But the idea of you finally indexing, is indexing the right word when you're sort of looking at something that isn't text, picture, video, audio, and telling us what's in it. So Google could look at whatever video is being recorded of this right now and just know that's Marissa Mayer and Michael Arrington in it. How far away are we from like that? From like really you just looking at all the world's information, not just the text information?
Sure. Well, what we're doing with Google Goggles, it has a little bit to do with indexing. Indexing is really how do we catalog and account for all the information we could return. But with Google Goggles, they are looking at image recognition. And yes, they do have some element of location. But there's sometimes that location doesn't help. Actually, Vic's example during the event was he took a picture of a wine bottle label and it figured out what wine it was, did a search for that wine, and told them that it had hints of apricot and hints of hibiscus blossom.
Did it use OCR?
And so it does some OCR, but it also can recognize the overall logo and shape
cool.
and things like that. So really, as image search, as image recognition gets further along, so will the ability to do the type of indexing that you're talking about. So we're very excited about that. I would say when you look at some of these very academic, exploratory topics, it seems like voice to text, actually being able to recognize an audio stream and see what's in it, is slightly further along than, say, image recognition. And of course, you need image recognition in order to do recognition inside of videos. But there's good progress being made both in academia and at Google on both of these. And Google Goggles is really the first indication of something that's consumer ready to be deployed. And so right now it's available on the Android marketplace as a beta you can try out.
So the Android marketplace. By the way, the Google phone? I think I did actually, wrote a story about the Google phone. Is a Google-only branded phone that is launching in January. You showed it to me backstage. You did not show it to me backstage. You haven't. I think you said your phone is an iPhone, is what you're using now. But can you tell us everything about this Google phone that you're launching early next year?
I can't comment on speculation.
Okay. That's what you said you were going to answer to that question. How about this one? Searches, mobile searches, clearly becoming more and more important on your iPhone or my Droid. What percentage of total searches on Google are done on a mobile device today?
We don't release specific numbers. I will say that it's grown considerably in this last year with the onset of smartphones. It's about double this year what it was last year in terms of overall, not only overall numbers, but the percentage of overall searches.
And we're talking about, what, 1 to 5%? It's somewhere in that ballpark?
It's close. It might be slightly higher than that.
It might be slightly higher.
Slightly higher.
Okay, great. Let's talk about Chrome and Chrome OS. Do you mind if I bucket them together? Because I think a lot of, So, last year we talked about this, and I think at LeWeb, was it at LeWeb you announced it was coming out of beta? Chrome, the
That's
browser.
right, it was that day,
It's taken you until now to get the Mac version out properly into beta. What comes next with Chrome and Chrome OS, and are we going to see devices soon in the retail marketplace that have, that are running Chrome, the operating system?
So we had a really exciting announcement yesterday with Chrome, where we released the Mac and Linux betas as well as the Chrome extensions. So this works much like Firefox extensions, where you can actually build onto the browser and extend it in interesting ways. And we think that will cause all kinds of interesting things to happen in the ecosystem around Chrome. So our focus on Chrome as a browser is really around the user experience. How do we make that better? How do we keep it lean and trim, but also really help users browse the web faster, more efficiently, looking at things like the new tab page. How can we continue to improve on that? Chrome OS, they had their press conference update a few weeks ago. And so the devices, I think, are still a ways away. That said, that they have been making good progress overall on building this anti-operating system, as Larry likes to call it, because basically it's an operating system that's a browser that doesn't feel like an operating system.
With Chrome, the browser, do you guys track downloads, or do you track updates? Do you have any way of knowing how many people are using it, and is that something that you'd be willing to share with us?
Sure. So we do keep track of users, and we see in particular 7-day actives. That's one of the metrics that we goal ourselves on. And we don't release, again, specific numbers, but I will say that there are tens of millions of Chrome users, and we're really excited about its overall growth.
Yeah. How many people in the audience? Have used Chrome? At least tried it out. That's a lot of people. And keep your hand up if it's your main browser today. TechCrunch Reddit? Robin? Yeah. That's great. Yeah. So I'm a Mac, so
Well, no, you can. I will say, I find the thing that's really stunning about it is speed. Because a lot of times in the user experience, speed isn't really an articulatable attribute. People, speed affects your decisions, but not explicitly. But I will say, especially because of all of our work on the website, I have to try, i.e. Firefox, Chrome, I have to try Safari, I have to use all the other browsers. And I do find if I end up getting stuck on one of those other browsers, for more than a